It's pretty much done, I'd say. We like to hold one or two back for possible transfers, things of that nature. But as far as signing any players, that's pretty much it.
Coach, what would you say you like about this class?
Just that we addressed a bunch of needs. You look at taking 7 defensive linemen, that's an area with some of the departures of the junior college linemen that we had being gone. Length at outside receiver is something we had to get longer out there to make plays in the vertical passing game. Quarterback needed a game changer type player. We felt like we got that. So I just think on the areas that we were really concerned postseason, we got those addressed and feel good about those guys coming in. Yeah, we found his tape late. Tremendous offensive player. When you look at what he did as a wide receiver, state champion, great length, can really fly. Shocked he wasn't recruited more highly, honestly. And we're going to have him as a defensive back. He could play both ways, but great skill set. Played some DB in high school. Coach DeLuke had a relationship being from Louisiana down there, and it really helped smooth that transition. And I felt like we got a steal there late with him. Yeah, I think, Pat's a bigger guy in stature. He's about 6'3", 6'4", 230. Jet's probably 6'1", 6 foot, 205. Jet is faster just in a race. Pat's very mobile, can move around, and Jet does the same stuff. But as far as arm strength, both very talented, both in high school, kind of put their teams on their back. Took them deeper in the playoffs than probably they should have gone based upon their performance. And so very similar attitudes. Both think they're the best when they step out there. And, excited to have them both on campus at the same time.
Any chance Duffy will be the backup?
I'm not sure. I think Nick Shimernick, I've really been pleased with his progress. Payne Sellens as well. But Nick has really stepped up. Had a great, fall camp and through the season really came a long way. So we expect him to be the backup, and you'd like to redshirt Jet if possible. But with this spring semester, I think he'll be ready to go in fall camp.
Was it nice to not have any big surprises with flips and just stay straight back to 24?
Yeah, it was an interesting year in that most of those kids were committed prior to the season and just went status quo. So that's nice. You want an uneventful signing day for the most part when you can get those guys locked in that you had targeted. So it made for a good day.
Was this your first class where you could say you were in at the very, very beginning, or are you still just a little bit behind that process?
No, I think we were right there. I think we're getting closer where we want to be. With the coaching changes, that you're always starting over each year when you have coaching changes when it comes to areas and the guys learning how we evaluate our process, things of that nature. But I think we're getting streamlined, getting more efficient. It felt like we did a great job recruiting this year.
Coach Bailey on the board, what is he kind of as a prospect, and just kind of what do you expect out of him, and other than a lot of guys in front of him, just kind of what are your early expectations for him?
Yeah, I would expect him to play. I think when you look coming back, Justin Stockton, DeMarcus Felton, Quentin White, Corey Dauphine, and he'd be the 5th on scholarship. So we're going to see if he can play. We think he can. At Skyline, they played in a very similar offense. He caught the ball out of the backfield, was a tremendous runner, has a good skill set, has a good build. So he's going to be a guy who, if he can pick up mentally, we'll try to get on the field.
And do you think now that you have him, does he kind of have the best all-around skill set of any of the guys you kind of have on your roster now?
I think so. As far as coming in, some of those guys, DeAndre really worked to catch the ball out of the backfield. Justin's become a better inside zone runner, but just coming out of high school, he's as a complete a back as I think I've seen, in that he's such a good pass catcher out of the backfield.
Talk about Derek Willis and what your expectations are for him almost right away to be able to compete.
Yeah, that's why he's here on both ends. We talked to him about coming in, playing right away, giving us that vertical threat with his size, his speed, that we could take shots. And I know his mentality was come into this style of offense and get right to work. And so him being here this spring semester is huge. He's roommates with Nick Shimernick, who's one of the hardest workers on our team. They've been up here at all hours already putting in work.
Is he kind of what you've been missing at that spot, do you think?
I hope so. I did not like our vertical passing game. I thought, when you have a passer like Pat who's so good at the deep ball, you got to give him some longer targets out there to take some shots. And when Dylan Cantrell got hurt, that aspect really dropped a lot. And I think the length we added, particularly with Derek is going to help us.
Kliff, how much do you think having Willie's already have a year of D1 ball at Iowa help him transition after going from the junior college ranks?
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's huge. He knows, particularly, a program like Iowa with Kirk Ferentz, who is very disciplined, he handles his business. So he coming in has the right mentality, knows what to expect, knows the level of competition, and he's approached it that way. His recruitment was a business decision as far as, hey, he wants to play at the next level. This is a vehicle in our offense where he felt like he could do that and play right away and play with a great quarterback, and that's why he's here, and he's working towards that.
How important was it to have a class of 24 to build those depth, which is at Penn Station?
Yeah, it was huge. We needed a big class. We lost quite a few. The first year I got here, we took a bunch of junior college players, lost a bunch of them, so we needed to build a foundation with high school players, and that was our focus. And we did that, and there will be a lot of backups on that field next year that are true freshmen, but that'll pay dividends in the long run.
This time last year, you said that defensive line was your main problem for the 2016 class. Besides 7 guys, you feel like that mission accomplished with this stuff?
I do. We won't know till obviously they get out there and play against the elite level competition we play against. But as far as the character they've shown, the way they've handled themselves, and their ability on the field, we feel like we got a good group.
But just curious your thoughts with the way that you've seen the spread offense sweep the nation over the last decade. Really, it seems like so many more athletes want to play offense. How hard is it to project players that are probably played a lot of receiver in high school to the defensive secondary mostly, and how difficult does it become to convince some of those players to switch sides of the ball?
Yeah, it is tough. You got to be good at your evaluations because a lot of those kids want the ball in their hands, and it's part of playing the game. But I think when you see a certain skill set, if he can run fast, he's physical, he can jump. I think the good coaches, the good evaluators can project him at a different position. And there's a team like TCU. Coach Patterson's done that for a lot of years and been very successful doing that.
How will the defense and offense guys that you got in, how will they fit in? Are you looking at some of them starting right away? Are you looking at redshirting a bunch of them, or can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think defensive line-wise, just based on our numbers, we expect to throw all of them out and let them play. And then offensive line, on the other hand, we think we have enough depth where we'd like to redshirt them and let them develop and come along. So I think it's just based on position. But if they all have to play, we'll play them. And if we can redshirt them and give them a year to grow and get bigger and stronger and learn our systems, then we'd love to do that.
This offensive line class just kind of seems like Coach Hayes goes out and gets 3 or 4 guys that fit his mold every year. Just what are your thoughts on this group?
Yeah, it's a very smart group. I think it's the smartest offensive line group when you talk about GPAs and test scores I've been around. All of them are different. Bruffy's a baseball player, being 6'7", throws 85 miles per hour, very skilled, great feet. Gio is a wrestler, state champion wrestler, so he has that aspect. Bailey has a 4.0, kind of a mauler, under the radar guy. So they all bring something different. Coach Hayes, he's big on getting his early evaluation. He doesn't care about stars or what anybody has them ranked. He wants his guys that he knows will come in and get after it, and we felt like we got a good group.
And how he's kind of done it now through 3 years, where he's built depth and kind of keeps going and getting his guys. Is that kind of the model for what you want to do kind of everywhere else?
I think so. I think we want to play with older guys at each position with a great young group coming up behind him, and Coach Hayes has done a good job of setting his room up that way, and hopefully we can establish that in some other positions.
You mentioned some of the other offensive linemen. What characteristics does Zach Adams have?
Yeah, Zach is a big physical young man. I think early on he had Penn State, Miami. When you turn on the tape, I mean, he's just a massive human, plays physical, has a nasty attitude, very disciplined young man. His dad worked for the federal government, so you can tell he was brought up in that type of environment. And originally from Katy, wanted you back to Texas, so it just really worked out for us.
So you have Ivory Jackson listed at 6'3", 242, which is significantly smaller than what he's listed as on some of the recruiting sites. Will he grow into a defensive tackle, or can he play a defensive end?
We think defensive tackle. He's lost some weight since the season running track, preparing for that. But we see him when he gets here in our nutrition program, being 275, 280, and playing inside.
You think Thatcher will play basketball? Is there any chance he might play basketball as well?
We haven't talked about that. I think he wants to focus on football. I mean, he definitely has the ability, and if that's something that he wanted to get into, that's something we could take a look at. But as far as I know, my dealings with him, he's ready to focus on football, do an off season, and really try to become the best wide receiver he can.
You'd be open to it if he wanted to?
I would be open to it. Yeah, I think it'd be great. I mean, I've watched him play basketball. He's special on that court as well. So if that's something he wanted to do, I think other people have done it before. That's something we could work with.
Have you coached many wide receivers maybe outside of Mike Evans with his type of wingspan? It seems like you can just throw it in his vicinity.
Yeah, that's who it reminds me of every time I watch him, just because Mike only played really his senior year of football, junior and senior year. He was a big basketball guy, really raw, but great physical tools, very big, fast, strong, aggressive. And Mike, the thing with Mike was how hard he worked. And I think TJ has a lot of those same characteristics. I think when he gets here and just focuses on football, I really think the sky's the limit for him.
Joe Wallace as a nose tackle, was kind of like an all-area guy in DFW. What do you kind of see out of him as like a true nose tackle for you guys?
Yeah, that's what he is. He's undersized as far as height, I'd say, but just one of those plugs that you want to play with when you're talking about a nose tackle. I mean, he's wide, he's very twitchy, has a great first step, and just terrorized all the teams he played this year. And I think if we can slim him down a little bit, get him in our system, I think he'd be perfect in Coach Gibbs' defense.
How'd you have that much success at Skyline? With that number of players?
Yeah, I think we have a good relationship there with the high school. Coach Jones used to coach there, and I think he did a good job of really carrying those relationships throughout the season.
When Coach gets in the second season, I guess what was key for him to kind of put his mark on the defense? Is it all like cornerbacks like his roles?
I think so. You look at what he brought in. He wanted more length at that position. This is really his first class where he's getting to bring in his pieces, and knew we had to get more depth of the defense line, get longer there at corner, and then a physical group of 3 linebackers that are all really tough, strong, physical kids that we had good evaluations on early, and they stuck with us.
You almost feel like you guys just kind of hit leads compared to really looking at star ratings and just looking at certain players to kind of fit things that you were looking at one.
Yeah, that's what, like I talk about. We want to go out, get our evaluations, early, and not knowing who's going to get stars, who's going to be highly rated. Just if we think they fit our system, we like the type of young man they are, we're going to go on them.
I guess how would you describe the defensive line? Obviously, a lot of speed there, some big guys. I guess we're trying to kind of get some guys that kind of slow down the play a little bit.
I think so. I think just bigger, longer, stronger bodies that we can develop. When I first got here, I mentioned earlier, we went the junior college route, and we needed to start from the high school level and develop these guys with this class.
You talked about taking 3 guys from Louisiana and kind of keeping that thing going with Coach Duluth maybe in the future, and Coach Robinson, and just what it was like to take those 3 guys.
Yeah, it was good. Coach Curtis did a great job down there in Louisiana, working that area, and obviously bringing in Coach DeLuke has smoothed that transition. But there's a ton of good players down there. Guys, we got on them early, and we held on because all of them got hot late. So we think they all contribute, all great young men, and I'm excited to have them here.
Were your defensive choices in mind when you looked at whether or not such a great season the defense had this year? I mean, do you really feel like this is going to up the caliber of the defense?
I hope so. Yeah, we wanted to bring in guys that could hopefully play right away and push any of the returning starters we have coming back based upon that we weren't as good as we needed to be. So it was definitely an emphasis to go heavy on the defensive side and try to create competition and depth for the defense.
What does it mean for your defense when your defensive coordinator now is coming back for a second year? You can recruit to specifics as far as what he wants and positions in his system. It's got to be a huge positive for your defense going forward, right?
It is. It is. As y'all know, around here, that hadn't happened very often to have back-to-back seasons. And he's a great evaluator of talent. This is his first class that he's really been able to put his hands on throughout the entire year. We brought Coach Gibbs in to improve turnover margin. That improved dramatically. And I think as he stacks his classes together, you'll continue to see our defense improve.
You know, he wants height, the DB wanted to change that, but what does Coach Fields say he really looks for as far as really pretty well?
For prospects,
Yeah.
you know, high character, likes hard workers, guys that when they show up on film, they show up. They're not afraid to hit you. And he's big on seeing them play in person. He likes to get live evaluations during the spring, make sure not just watching on tape. He's big on going to see him in person in the spring, move around. And having been in the NFL, he knows, you know, that's the ultra evaluation profession, and so he's been through some of that. So he does a great job, very thorough in his process, and couldn't be more pleased with these guys we're bringing in.
You mentioned your areas that you were really trying to prioritize heading into the year, the defensive line, inside line, but are there any areas that maybe, not to say you didn't know anything, but you weren't had as part of the focus on and you're pleasantly surprised with what you did?
No, I think, you know, anytime you go after a class, you're going to emphasize pretty much every position, do the best you can at it. But I think, you know, all the guys, I mean, every coach in America says they feel good about their class. But having got to know these kids over a year time, they've all been committed a long time, just makes you feel better and better about what type of people they are and the type of players they're going to be.
Coach, what are your expectations with Kwame in this offense, and how much do you see him contributing on special teams?
That's why he was brought in. You know, I think when you lose somebody like Jakeem Grant, you're searching for that position. We have some good young guys that we think can step up and do that, but we wanted to bring him in to compete for that position as far as a returner, an inside receiver that can catch those quick screens, catch those bubbles, make people miss, and take it the distance. And he's a guy who has that skill set.
Jordan Brooks, an inside linebacker, returning.
I would assume that we're going to put him, you know, wherever we can to get him on the field as soon as possible. But I think day one, he'd probably be inside.
And Jonathan McCollum, is he more an inside linebacker?
I think we'll start him on the inside and see who shakes out where.
Kevin Moore, just talk about his versatility a little bit, if you would, and you know, linebacker, safety, he's kind of a football player kind of guy.
He is. He's a heck of a player. Played quarterback one year that they went to the state championship. So loves football, could play safety, play linebacker. When you watch the tape, he's all over the field. He's great in pass coverage, very physical at the line of scrimmage. And so we were very excited to have him, and we'll move him around and see where best fits his talents.
Can you name a best in the class?
No. They're all good. They're all going to have a special role here, and I'm just excited to get them on campus.
With the 24-player class, are you expecting a smaller class next season, and are you just focused on a different area?
Yeah, I think it'll be smaller. I don't know by how much, but we don't lose a ton, don't have a ton of seniors this upcoming season, so it'll be smaller. And as of now, don't really have an emphasis. We'll see how, you know, spring, fall play out and go from there.
Rob, I forgot to ask you a linebacker, Braden Stringer, his projection, and kind of what jumps out.
Yeah, same deal. Physical kid. Will stick his nose in there. Probably going to be an outside guy to start, but can play all over. Was the best special teams player they had by far. So I expect him to kind of start there, and hopefully we can work his way onto the field at linebacker.
With all these physical guys you brought in on defense, don't you think that probably will help you on special teams too?
It will. That's what we wanted. We knew we had to improve there, get some more athletic bodies running down, covering kicks. And in our league, with the dynamic returners we have, we got to get better. And I know Coach Robinson's excited about working with these guys.
Anything else? Was there a favorite meal or one that was particularly unusual that you were part of during this recruiting season?
I'm trying to think. Favorite? I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings with favorite, but
Like, most unusual. Interesting.
no, we didn't have one. It was pretty much catered type situations, but it was all good. They took care of us this year, so appreciate it.